Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's tutorial will be on how to sew a Victorian corset. Do subscribe, share to friends, give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to turn on your notification bell. Thank you so much. Now I went ahead to place my pattern papers on my fabric. If you watch closely, you'll see some chalk lines I made. Alright, now this is the center front of my pattern. Is within this folded edge. Alright, it's being folded. Then what I did was to add 0.75 inches to it. This is to enable me pass my bonings because I'm going to be using my allowance for my bone channels. Alright, so I went ahead to add 0.75 inches on each side of it. Then on the top, I added half an inch to it. Then on the down two, I went ahead and added half an inch. Alright, then for this side, this is the side part of my top for the front one, so I went ahead and added half an 0.75 inches, half an inch. Then the side, I added 1.5 inches. You can decide to still use 0.75 inches, but I went ahead and added 1.5 inches to mine. Then this is for my back piece. All right, so 0.75 from here to here. Then for the shaping allowance area, the side, I went ahead and added 1.5 inches for my seam allowance. Okay, then this is for the side that is going to be having the loops, the lacing. Okay, this side is 0.75 inches, 0.75 inches. I added 0.75 inches here. Its reason is because we're also going to be putting a bone here. Okay, so that's why I went ahead to do. So this is what we have. The next thing to do now is to cut these pieces out. Then we will attach our interfacing. I remember to also cut ahead and cut this also on your lining. My pattern and pieces together, and this is my interfacing. This is interfacing I'm working with. So I'll go ahead and cut out my interfacing for my pieces. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to go ahead and join my pieces together. So I'm going to be starting with this center ones first. Alright, this center cups first. So now remember we used 0.75 inches for our allowance, for joining allowance. So I went ahead and marked it on my fabric. This is to enable me know where to stitch on. So what I have here is 0.75 inches. So this is what I have, 0.75 inches. So I'll go ahead and join it with 0.75 inches. Because this is a corset, any little mistake can alter the top or the dress entirely. So any amount of measurements you use, any inches you use, make sure you stitch on it. All right, so let's get started. So after joining the center pieces together, this is what I have. The next thing I went ahead to do was to iron it open. All right, so this is the ironing it open. This is what I have. So now I'm going to go ahead and join the two sides together. So these are my two side pieces. I'll go ahead and join them together. So now I'm done stitching, joining my front pieces together. Alright, and I've pressed opened it. Now I'm going to come into this bust area side, and I'm going to be giving it a notch, a slight notch. This is to enable it lap on very well. This is only for this part, alright, that is carrying the cup, but for the other areas I'm going to leave it. So I did that down to the under bust. I also go ahead and join my back pieces together. Now the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating a casing for my bone channel. Alright, so this is a resin bone. You can decide to work with a plastic bone, fine. Anyone that works for you is perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and place this here. I know how many inches I'm going to take to run a stitch on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my machine and run a stitch closely, not to the tip but a little bit inside, so I'll be able to pass my boning in between my casing. Alright, so now I'm done crossing my bone channels. Alright, if you look closely, you see what I have, and this is what I have on this side. So now the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going ahead and run a stitch on my shape line. Alright, so now if you notice, I already marked my shape line. That's the 1.5 inches I marked. Alright, for my shaping I added to my allowance, so that's what I'm also going to use to be shaping it. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I also do it to my lining. Alright, so when I'm done shaping my dress, this is what I have. This is my lining, and this is my fabric. Alright, my main African print. So now I'll go ahead. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to go ahead and join the upper part of it, like the upper part of my lining and my fabric. So I'll go ahead and join it together, then close the sides, but I will not be touching this part, the down part of my top for now. All right, now another thing I'm going to be working with, so I'm going to be working with this hemming gum. Right, so I'm going to be placing this hemming gum on it to run a stitch on it. This is to enable me, after sewing, when I iron it down, it will lap very well, like the lining will not push up. All right, it will not be exceeding the main fabric. So that's what I'm going to be working with the hemming gum. I'm going to go ahead and do now is to pass my boning through the bone channels I made. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it through the cases I've made. So this is me passing it through. Now on getting to this point, I'm not going to allow it to, like, I'm going to be trimming off ½ inch before my hemline. Okay, so what I mark to, I'm going to trim off. So that's what I have. Do the same thing for all the channels. After passing my bonus through the channel, the next thing I'm going to do, or before then, it depends on you. You can decide to do it before or after. I'm going to go ahead and create another bone channel. This is where my loops is going to be, my lacing is going to be. Alright, so I'll go ahead and create a bone channel, then pass my bone through it. Alright, so that's what I'm going to do. So after fixing my bones and every stuff, the next thing now is to close the down part of my top. Alright, to hem it. Now I went ahead and open up my lining. Okay, so now you can decide to leave this side of your lining open, the shape line open. Alright, just stitch a little bit and leave it open during joining of your pieces together, or you can decide to lose it after sewing. So now I'm going to flip this way. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'll go ahead and run a stitch from this point. So now this is where our lacing is going to be, at this point. Right, so I'm not going to stitch there. I'm going to leave that area, then run a stitch till I get to this part. Also at this end, I'm not going to stitch it. I'm going to leave it open, then run a stitch to close it up. Then I will turn it out from where I opened up my line. So I'm done stitching the bottom part of my stuff. I'm going to go ahead now and turn it out from the opening I made. So now I'll go ahead and close this up using my sewing machine. I'll close, fold it inside, and run a stitch to close it up. Then the lining, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick, and close it up too. Alright, so after which our top is ready. Next thing I did was to insert my eyelets to my lacing. Alright, to this part of the top. Now I'm going to be styling it. I'm going to be using this shambala as my rope. Okay, so that's what I'll be using for the rope at the back. So Do subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, share to friends, and don't forget to turn on your notification bell. Stay tuned for another interesting video. See ya.